Hi, welcome to the Cori app. This is your app's homepage. Set it in classic mode here at the top so you can see the different actions that can be done right from the homepage. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can add a new customer and create a quote and an invoice for them. So to add a new customer, you just tap the add customer button here and then you complete all the information here. Usually you just need the full name, but it's also best to add at least a phone number, mobile number, or an email for the customer so they can receive text and email messages, whether when you create a quote for them, when you create an invoice for them, that's where the quote and the invoice will be sent. And now the customer is added successfully. Now to create a quote for Susan, tap the create quote button. It'll ask you to select the customer. Here you search for the customer we just entered, and now it's the quote details page. This is where we put in all the information. So let's say we're doing a repair work for Susan. So we just add a title. Now you can create a quote with multiple options here. This button here, if you tap that, you can add multiple options. Options are a way to present different options to your customer. Let's say there are 3 choices you want to give a customer, with different prices. I'll show you what that looks like here. Or if you want to just create a basic quote, you can just tap that as off and then create the line items in there. So here you can say, option 1 is partial repair. Let's say, repair minor. Okay. And then the price for that is, let's say it's $1,000. You can hit the polish with AI button if you think you need some help with grammar or spelling checks. This helps clean it up for you. So if I say tap polish with AI, so here you go. It suggests repair minor damage. I like that option, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Now you can see the line item got updated, repair minor damage. Tap this button, add option, to add the second option. So here option 2, let's call it complete repair. So here, maybe here we'll call it complete replacement. And then maybe the price is $2,000 here. So now that's done. Now I wanted to present 2 options here to the customer. I can always add photos if I want to, or videos. So just tap this, it'll connect to your phone's photo storage. You can even choose how long the quote want to be valid for. Right now the default is 30 days, but you can change that to 60, 90, even 5 days. Now when you use this quote details, it automatically saves a draft for you in the quote page. So if I hit exit and now I go back to the quotes from the menu, it's right there at the top. It saves your changes automatically so you don't lose your work. Now let's say review quote. This is the next step in the quote creation process. Now you can see option 1, partial repair, is for $1,000. Option 2, complete repair, for $2,000. It gives you a quote valid date at the bottom. Always tap the view PDF button here at the top to make sure you're happy with the quote. This is what your customers will see. This is what will be sent via text and email to them. So here I'm going to zoom in here. Here, of course, you're going to have your business name and logo, your customer information, and then you can see that it's quote with multiple options. Now, if you're happy with this, we tap create quote. That's it, and the quote, it gets sent via text and email. So this is what the quote will look like for Susan via text message. It comes from this 833 number here, and then it has a link to the quote so she can tap it. This is what your customer can see. This is what you saw before sending it. So what you saw before you sent it is what she will see after you send it. Okay, now let's take a look at how we can create an invoice for Susan. So in this case, you're going to tap create invoice here on the home page. You're going to search for Susan. And now there's the quote that we created for her. So you'll always see this. This was the quote that was selected. So you don't have to create the invoice from scratch. If you sold the quote, you can basically convert that into an invoice. Now here's how we would do it. There are 2 options here. Tap to select the items here. You just tap the quote and now you can select from which option to invoice. Let's say we are invoicing her the two options here, and now tap the build invoice button. Now you can see the invoice details got filled out with all the information that we already had in the quote. There's a repair, complete replacement, and then also you can again polish with AI. If you want to make any changes, you can make changes here. All of that stuff is available. You can add a discount here if you want to, and maybe you want to give them a $100 discount. So you update, and now you can see it actually becomes a $1,900 invoice instead of $2,000. Now here I'll show you how you can even collect a deposit. So tap this button to collect a deposit. Let's say we're gonna be able to collect $500 today. The balance remaining is $1,400. So now today, when we see the invoice, this is what Susan will see. We will view it as a PDF to make sure it all looks good. And there it is. Here's the invoice, complete replacement, $2,000 with a $100 discount for a total amount $1,900. Payment due now is $500 and balance due later is $1,400. This balance gets saved on Susan's record. So next time you come and create a invoice for Susan, you can select their outstanding balance of $1,400. The app will tell you that their balance is available on the customer and that you should invoice that. So now in this case, I'm going to send this invoice to Susan so I can collect the $500. Here you go. She gets sent an SMS and a email. Here's the text message with the invoice. There's a link to the invoice so she can view it. Here's the invoice that we just saw. There's also a link to pay the invoice. If you choose to process the payments through the Cori app, that will be enabled. But if you choose to collect payments outside of the Cori app, that's fine too. This link will not be available, the second link. And instead what it will say is, please contact the business to arrange payments. Your business name will be there. Now I want to show you what Susan's customer record looks like when she has a balance and how you can check that. So go to customers, type Susan again. And now you can see at the top, outstanding balance of $1,400. It's right there. This just keeps track. So the app keeps track of which customers have a balance due available on them. Now what happens is the next time I'll create an invoice for Susan. Let me show you again. Create invoice. You type Susan. Now this quote, remember we already sold that. That's why it's already marked as sold. But you can always go ahead and create an invoice from this quote again. Let's say here at the bottom, I'm going to tap skip create without a quote. I'm creating a new invoice. Now here the app tells me that there is an outstanding balance of $1,400. And if I want to apply this to the current invoice, apply full balance, I can actually select a partial balance too. Maybe I'm going to collect only 1,000 today. I can select that. Let's say here I'm going to select the full balance, or you could skip entirely. Let's say you're doing a completely different job for this customer. You could just skip that and then take care of the outstanding balance later. So now in this case, I want to actually collect the remaining balance due from previous invoice. The line item gets automatically filled in. Here I'm going to just add a title for balance invoice for replacement job. And that's correct. Everything else looks fine. I'm going to review the invoice. Here it tells me just what the current balance is and what they're applying. So the Susan's new balance will now be 0. If I'm happy with that, I'm going to hit confirm. Just check my PDF invoice now to see what happens. And you can see now it says balance due from previous invoice is $1,400. I like that. And then I can send the invoice. Now Susan has been sent the balance invoice. So here's another text message to Susan that says, here's the $1,400 balance invoice that she can either pay through the app if your account is set up that way, or she'll pay you outside the app if that's your preference. But she will always have a link to the invoice so she can see the details of the invoice that you have sent to her.